Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Latin
Latin
Voices.
voices.
So today we have a guest. He is original from the Philippines, but he resides in Canada. So he will be joining us in a few minutes. But first, let's start with introducing ourselves. So, hi, everyone. My name is Sandy. I'm originally from Panama. I reside in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. I work in the movie industry, and I'm a digital business owner.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Jessie. I'm a nurse by professional. I live here in Ontario, Canada, but my background, I'm from Cuba. I'm a proud digital business owner.
Thank you, Jesse.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel. I'm originally from Mexico. I live in North Carolina, USA. I am married. I have 3 kids, and I work for the school system as a teacher assistant. And I also have my digital business.
Thank you, Isabel. Okay, so we want to remind everyone today that today at 5 p.m. EST, so every Tuesday and every Thursday, we have live webinars. So if you guys want to join us and learn more about the business, you can register in our websites. So today it will be at 5 p.m. PST and 8 p.m. EST. Okay, so let's see who our hosts and panelists are for today. Isabel?
Okay, so we have our host is Rax in Chicago. He was a chef and she was a therapist. And then we have Eleni from a nanny to CEO, but she has her digital business. And Delphine, she's a business development manager.
Okay, so for the panelists, we also have Lori. She's a digital business owner. We have Meg. She's a government contractor. Maria, she's an officer manager and a realtor. And we also have Melissa. She's a restaurant business owner. And we also have Ifioma. She's a digital professional. So these are our free live webinar that is happening today at 8 p.m. EST. And this is going to be the hostess and the panelists for today. So if you want to know more and you want to know how to or how to the steps to own your own business, just register and join us.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Isabel. Okay, so let's bring our guest to the studio. Hi, Paulo. Thank you for coming.
Hi,
Hola, hola,
Paula.
¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Hola.
Bien, bien, gracias. um, would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, definitely. So hi everyone. Estoy aprendiendo español. No, sorry, I have to correct that. Todavía estoy aprendiendo español, pero ahora no es bueno. Estoy practicar cada día. So yeah, it will get better slowly. It's confidence.
Actually, your Spanish is not too bad.
Yes, yes.
It's understandable.
Yeah, I've been practicing since I got back 5 days a week. So just been doing online stuff. But yeah, back to the introduction. I'm Paulo Paralejas. I was born in the Philippines, as Sandy mentioned, but I moved to Calgary, Alberta, Canada when I was 6 months old. So I grew up in Calgary, but now I currently reside here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And as a profession, I've been nursing for over 21 years. So don't let this young outlook, like this exterior look, fool you. I've been nursing for quite a while. I worked in inpatient hospitals. I worked in outpatients. I worked for pharmaceutical companies. And I worked sort of recently in the IT part of a patient electronic medical system record that was launched here in British Columbia. So I've dabbled in a lot of things because I got bored in nursing. And also I've experienced sort of physical strains on nursing, working inpatient, and experienced 2 burnouts in nursing as well. So that's why I started looking for an out of nursing. Even though it's a really great profession, you learn a lot, you meet a lot of great people. It does take a toll on you physically, mentally, emotionally. And I think for me personally, it was time for me to turn the page and do this digital business. And so that's why I started looking for something else and came across this business system and model.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sandy, I think you're on mute.
Yes, thank you. Um, so we're gonna start with the questions. I think you can answer the first question, but we'll go over just a
Yeah.
moment.
Okay, Paul, I'm really inspired for you. You know, I'm a nurse as well, an RPN, and just hearing your history, like all the things that you do as a nurse, it's just I just did bedside. I'm doing just bedside, and I'm getting crazy already, and seeing all the things that you do, and you found a way out is amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, ready for my question? So, what inspired you to transition from a nursing career to starting an online business?
Okay. So there's a couple reasons. Um, so I kind of alluded to like how stressful the job can be as a nurse because you're just constantly giving all the time. And just before I turned 33, which is, I'm giving up my age, but it's about 10 years ago, I woke up on one day with a stiff neck. Everyone always wakes up with a stiff neck because they slept funny. But within a matter of 8 weeks, it was very acute and happening very quickly. I lost full control of my voluntary head movement. It took me a while to actually get diagnosed with it. I got the whole runaround because people were like, "Oh, it's nothing," or "You're just stressed out. It's fine. It'll go away." But I actually got diagnosed with it's a rare neuromuscular disorder called dystonia. So that's a bigger umbrella. But I have cervical dystonia. So basically, the part of the brain that controls all muscle movement in your body was sending too many signals to my neck right here. So I
Mm.
was every few seconds I was like this all the time. And could you imagine that I was doing it 20, almost like 24 hours a day, and my neck basically just this whole muscle got tense as well. And so I lost the ability to lose like I lost the ability to control my head movement, but also at the same time the turning was so aggressive that it pinched the nerve between my C5 and 6 of my spine. So I lost full movement of my right arm as well. So I got sensory and neuropathy. So like I had no strength. I couldn't feel anything. So two things happening to me, and I equated it to the stress that built up at my job because my background originally at that point, I was working as a oncology clinical trials nurse. So I worked with a lot of cancer patients that who were diagnosed with gynecology cancers, GI cancers, and a lot of my patients passed away over the years. And so also I was in a unit with three nurses where one of the nurses actually had to step away for stress leave because it was a stressful job for her. And so for 2 years, me and my colleague were working a three-nurse workload. So that was a lot to manage. And so the doctor said they couldn't figure out what was causing it or what was the result of my disorder. But I knew for a fact that it was the right environment, the right stresses that built up. So although I genetically had this in my genes, I think the right environment just flicked it on with all the stress. And stress, everyone says, can bring on so many things in
Mhm.
person's life. And so that was the major reason that I needed to find something different to do because during that time when I was at home, like I was basically not trying to focus on my health and trying to get back. I was worried about because I just moved into a new place in downtown Vancouver as well. So that was another stressor. But I was worried about who's going to pay the mortgage because me and my partner at the time he wasn't working. Who's going to pay the bills? Am I going to be able to drive again? Like a lot of it was like linked to finances, and I wasn't able to really focus on my health. And I told myself I would never allow myself to get in that same position again if ever anything like that happens. And then the second reason was because I told you I worked in many different areas that with our working for a union, your seniority for your hourly wage doesn't get affected, but your seniority for vacation does. And so for somebody like me who's worked 21 years, I should already be at almost 7 to 8 weeks vacation, but I always default to the standard of what they provide, which is usually about 3 or 4 weeks. And for me, that's not fair because when I take on a new role, the employer sees my skill set, the knowledge that I have, and expects a lot higher from me. So I'm training people, I'm considered a mentor, but I don't get the same vacation time as people who started younger. And for me, that's not fair. And because working in healthcare is such a stressful job, that we should be able to take a lot more time off to actually manage the workload and manage our mental health, mental well-being as well. So that was the two major reasons why I needed to start looking for something, because during that period, I just felt like that tunnel just kept getting longer and longer where I couldn't find a way out. And then when I found this business, I was just like, this basically brought the light back into my life and brought the creativity of what was buried, because I was so busy just trying to pay the bills, trying to get through the day, and just making sure that I was living, but not really actually enjoying life. So yeah, that was sort of the long-winded reason, but those are sort of my two major whys of why I, started transitioning out of my nursing career to do this business.
So yeah, it's really amazing. Like I would say, amazing to hear your history. Your pains as a nurse and why you decided to move on or to find something else. On my case, I'm an RPM. I work in long-term care. So yes, it's true. We have a lot of people passing. Yeah, you get really attached, and then they move on their life. They pass, and in the short term it get a toll on you. But what I decided for me is most of the nurses that I was a new nurse in 2020, but most of the nurses that were with me at the time, they were having 2 to 3 jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, it was 2020, pandemic happened. You were making good money, because they need you, so you were doing overtime, extra shift, but you have to have 2 or 3 jobs to have all that income coming in.
Yeah.
And because it needed at the time, because everything started getting more expensive. And if you don't have that, you have to pick up extra chef or be on your phone all the time to be able to pick up so no one beat you up. you know
Yeah.
so you want to be the first one to accept it. So all of that was like kind of difficult. And I was depending on like on the phone, like on the phone all the time, giving all my time to work. And I didn't have time for myself. I didn't have time for my family, for myself. And I relate to you when you say about the vacation. At that time, I just graduated in 2019. So I was a new nurse coming in on an urgent care, no vacation at all. So they just give you 2 weeks, and you still have as a part-time at the time. You just have 2 weeks. And for everyone that's watching us, 2 weeks is in nursing is not 14 days. At least on long-term care, it's 10 days.
Yeah.
Because they base it of a full-time position that you work 10 days and you have 4 days off every two
Yeah.
weeks. So 10 days, let's be realistic, is not enough to go back home to visit
No.
family as an
And then
immigrant. So
yeah,
crazy.
and
What
then
the
too,
things that you do for the
with the
money.
seniority, like with the seniority too, you don't have a say of when you can take your vacation too, because you're having to compete with other people with higher seniority. So like you don't get to pick, like, I want to actually go vacation next week. You're like, well, we have to see if somebody else has booked it. And that's what I
Exactly.
experienced. And I'm like, no, I don't, that's not fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and when that happened, one of my workers, she was already on the business. But I already know, like I had that awakeness that you have, that you were like, I'm stressful for money. I need to figure it out what's going on. What do I need? What something extra? They will not have my whole time, but I also will not be compromising for $2. Like I need more income coming in, but like be able to have time for myself and do all the things. So that's when I started looking, and I realized that one of my workers, she was part of the business already. And I always see it, she always was posting, talking about her business. I was like, girl, what is that? You never air online.
Yeah.
And my husband, he always was like, he's like from the back school. The only way you earn is your work, your 9 to 5 that you work for someone else. So you never we have something like that. So that's when I decided. I was like, let me give it a try. And I like what I see, and I started the online business. So I'm still here. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I feel so like attached what you say, because for all the viewers, like it's not just it's not you that are on that pain. It just happened, like it's happening to everyone. It's just you have to have that moment of awakeness. It's have to happen for you, that knowing for yourself that you want something more, and then you're going to start looking for something that's going to give you your way out.
Yeah. And it's not just with, like, I know we're both nurses, but this also applies in general with all other careers and jobs, because a lot of people are being let go in jobs, and then people that are remaining there, they're getting those responsibilities handed over to them. And I've heard from other friends who work in like accounting or like other like insurance company stuff. They're busy, they're on the go, they're expected to do a lot of stuff even on their time off. And I'm like, that's gonna be a bad sort of situation for a lot of people, because they're gonna burn out. And I've been hearing burnout is happening so much more frequently, not just in healthcare, but in all of these other companies and professions.
Yeah, I can relate to the burnout. For example, I work in the movie industry and we usually work like 12 hours per day, 5 days a week. And like when I do like a TV movie, that's not too bad. But sometimes, like when I do like a TV series, they're usually long because we have to be there like few months before the production starts shooting, during the production, then after that. So working those long amount of hours for a long period of time, like eventually, like at the beginning you might be okay, but almost at the end, 1/4 of the end of the production, you start feeling it, that burnout, and that's when you need like some time off,
Yeah.
to so usually, like I work like during the summertime, which is our busy season, and then I will take time off, like at the end of December, up to like maybe April, March. So yeah, I do understand about the burnout. Okay, so we're gonna go with the second question. So, what challenges do you face at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, and how do you overcome them? Coming, like from your nursing, going to an online business, which is totally different. So, what were your challenges that you faced at the time?
Yeah, so at that time, so even as a coach, like when I talk to people or people who are inquiring about the business, I tell them like, oh, it's about digital marketing. They're like, well, I don't have any experience. I'm like, well, I didn't either. I mean, none of us, a large amount of us didn't have marketing background. And I said, it's because of our training. It's because of our masterminds that we have weekly, that a lot of us have been able to build that skill, to gain that knowledge. And so during that time when I first started, it was in 2017. That's when I just quit my nursing job at BC Cancer and worked and moved over to the pharmaceutical side. So I was working for Bristol Myers Squibb, and I was actually they call it a monitor, but it's like a real time auditor of cancer trials. So I was on the other end of like monitoring trials. I wasn't the nurse running the trial. I was the other side, making sure that the site and the nurses are following things according to the protocol of the trial. So that's what I was doing. So I was flying between British Columbia and Alberta at least 6 to 8 times a month. And I was working at least 10 to 16-hour days, because I was doing the training. I was learning this whole new role. I was getting mentored, and I was on the road all the time. I was at a site for 8 hours and come home and work maybe another 2 to 4 or 5 hours. And on top of that, because it's a corporate sort of job and you get bonuses, you have to do extra work on the side to prove to the company that you earned the bonus, mid bonus, and the end of the year bonus. So you're doing all these other extra projects on your personal time as well. So that was sort of like the landscape of me when I started this entrepreneur journey. So I was not that I was just learning a new job, like a 9 to 5 job. I was learning also how to become an entrepreneur. And what made it easy for me was the fact that our training is all online, accessible 24/7. It's video based. And so it allowed me to do a lot of it on my phone when I'd be in the taxi ride, or if I was at the airport, I can just open up my laptop and then watch some of the video training. And because the training, you can just watch, I watch it like not just once, two, three, four, 5 times, because it's a new thing that I'm learning. And I had to, for me to learn, I have to repeat things and just watch it two, three, 4 times. So that's what the things I had to overcome. But the other thing too is that I was so fearful of putting myself out there in the online space. And so I started in January of 2017. I did not even put out my first ad until September 2017, because I was fearful of what people were going to say when I was talking about the business. Because yeah, I post stuff personally, on Facebook, Instagram, and stuff, but I never did it from a business perspective. And so I felt, the fear, the shame, like what are people going to say? And so I wouldn't say wasted, but I took away time where I could have like launched the business right away and start getting the business active. And so when I coach new business owners that I mentor, I tell them this experience and say that I know you're scared, I know you're fearful. I'll help you through this. I'll help you get comfortable in front of the camera or doing a picture, ad, whatever. But we need to get your business going with putting out ads there or do free advertising, because the longer you wait, the longer that your business is not gonna take off. And so that's sort of like what challenges I face. And every time, like I said, every time I have a coaching call, I tell people these stories so that they don't do the exact same thing. Because during that period, I always say this, so like, if you treat the business as a hobby, it's not going to take off. But if you treat it as a business where you show up every day, it will take off, because the system has been around for 8 years. It's been tried and tested. It's a system where we've created millionaires in this community. And so it does work. So yeah, I'll just end it there. But yeah, those are the challenges I faced when I started. So if anyone who has a busy workload says that they don't have the time, you really have to look at your schedule. And actually, I use my phone schedule all the time and schedule things in there. You really have to start organizing your time and taking away things that don't benefit you in the long run. So that's why I stopped watching Netflix. I stopped hanging out with like people who weren't going to be very productive in my life for this period. And you have to think of this as a temporary sacrifice so that you can have long-term benefits and goals. So yeah, I'll stop it there for that question, and then we can move on to the next. If any of you want to comment on that.
Um, yeah, I totally agree with you. Like me, I'm coming from like the movie industry. But even then, like I don't like to be in front of the camera, so that was one of my challenges too. So I started, like recording myself and and redo the recordings until eventually, I was able to see myself, and talking to myself. So that's how I saw it. And then eventually I moved into the live, and it was kind of scary, pressing that live button, going
Yeah,
live. But I got used to see myself, and I was okay because nobody was watching.
yeah,
So as long as nobody was watching, I was okay. But then one night, like I encountered one person that um, came to my life, and then I panicked in my mind, like, and I forgot everything that I had planned. Because I wasn't expecting someone to watch me, but that was my first experience. And then after that, I started to do lives, and this year, Isabel and Jesse and I, we started to do our lives together for the Latin Voices and Voices Latina. And it's been challenging at the beginning because we were so scared, but like it's getting better. Like say practice makes better. So that's why uh, we joined this online business journey. No knowing a lot of stuff, but as we go through our journey, we start growing as a person and learning new things, and that's what it makes us better. So yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, Sandy, and I just want to say, when I started my business, I don't know how many months went by before I finally decided to do my advertising, because I was so afraid to do it too. And I wasted so many months because I was like, I'm not ready for this, I'm not ready. But the thing is, if you don't face your fears, you're never going to be ready, because you have to start doing it to lose that fear. And once you start doing it, it's actually not that bad. But it's just you thinking about what other people are going to think and what other people are going to say in your mind. And yes, people may say whatever, but at the end, just let that be. They always say that people who criticize you is because they're doing less than what you're doing. They want to do the same thing you're doing, so they're criticizing you, saying that you're probably wasting your time, that you don't know what you're doing, and all these things. But we waste so much energy thinking about what other people are going to think. We want to be accepted, and just in our minds, we play all these stories without really knowing. But the thing is, you have to actually fear or face your fears to continue your journey and get better at what you're doing.
So yes, I would just say something about that. I started business. I believe it. No, I did my advertising, my first ad, and I posted. And I did it for like a week and a half, and then I paused it and I didn't do the business at all for like a year and a half because I was mortified. I was like getting so nervous because all these people they were like interested, but I didn't know what to do. So I got in a freaking mode and I didn't do no business for like a year and a half. And people like, oh, like, are you still doing the business? I told you that wasn't a good thing to do, but because I stopped it, people were thinking that, oh, it's not good, or like she leave it right away. It's just because I was mortified. As a beginning owner, like I had never thought that I would be able to own a business. As I grow up, I always back home in Cuba, you go to school, you graduate, and they send you to work at some place close to you. So to own a business, you have to have, we say, like the golden spoon.
Yeah.
You had to have like you had to have from you had to come out from money. So someone like you and me, we will not be able to ever own a business. So yeah, that happened to me. I was mortified what people were saying to me, and it's hard. Challenge is hard. Something so have doing something different is hard, but you just have to go for it and look at it. We're still here 4 years in, and we're loving it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jessie. Okay, so we're gonna go with the third question. Just give me a sec.
Okay, Paolo. What key mindset shift are necessary to believe in yourself and achieve significant success in your business?
Okay. Yeah. So this one, because I came from my nursing background, where working as a cancer clinical trials research nurse, we didn't really have a manager that was like hovering and telling you have to do this every day. We sort of manage as our own, as individual clinical trials nurses, creating our own schedule. And like we actually had to tell doctors what to do, because we knew the protocols in and out. So we would be telling them this, this, and this is what they have to do. If the patient's blood work is slow, so we had a lot of autonomy. And because I was able to build that over the years of autonomy. I think that's sort of like the mindset shift that a lot of people who work for somebody else goes into the entrepreneur mindset, is that they have to learn how to be independent on their own and make their own decisions. And if you're not sure about certain decisions, ask people who've already been doing the business. Don't ask friends or family who've never done the business, because then they're going to say all this stuff that is usually negative. Whereas if you talk to somebody who's done the business, they'll be like, oh yeah, you just have to do this, this, and this. And you're not going to be like, oh, I shouldn't have asked that question because I feel like I'm not, this isn't it for me. So yeah, so that's one of the key mindset shifts, is that you need to just learn to be autonomous. And the other part is the organizational part, like the mindset of being organized and utilizing your time more wisely. So I kind of already talked about like cutting out certain things in your schedule, because when I always hear people say I don't have the time to do things, for me it's like, do you though? Because like I see you like constantly, like you're playing games or you're watching movies, you're out doing things, you're hanging out with friends like 2-3 times a week. Can you actually cut some of that back out and actually work on something that's actually going to help you long term? But I think too is like a lot of people are afraid of change. A lot of people are afraid to sacrifice things that give them instant gratification. And so with this type of business, you don't get instant gratifications right away. It's like you have to work at it, you have to chip at it, and then maybe after like 10 tries you'll get your gratification. But that's what makes us different between people who are working for somebody else versus people who are working for themselves, is that they learn that later gratification is what we're working towards. So I would say, yeah, those are the two sort of mindset shifts that people need to do to become successful. Sorry, and then one last thing is you need to be coachable. You need to be able to accept positive criticism from your mentors or your coaches as well, because you have to remind yourself they're not there to tear you down, they're there to bring you up and help you from their past experiences so that you don't do the exact same mistakes again. And because that's what I do as a coach and mentor, because I don't want people to waste their time, waste their money on things that didn't really work for me. And if people say, I still want to try, I'll say, yeah, try it out, but let's let's meet again in a week or two and see how things are going. Don't let your ad run for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and nothing's really happening. Let's do constant checkup just to make sure things are working properly. So yeah, those are things that are required for, I think, are required for people to become successful in this business.
Yeah, yeah, I completely get what you're saying, because we get that a lot. Even when people sign up and we tell them, you got to watch a 90-minute webinar, and they're like, oh, I don't have 90 minutes to watch a webinar. Okay, well, if you don't have that time, then you're not ready, and you're not you're not serious about taking this opportunity, because this is what this is going to be. You're going to have to spend a lot of time in training. If you decide to join, the training is going to take a good bit. So if you don't have 90 minutes to do the webinar, then you're not going to have time to do the other,
Yeah,
and like you say, a lot of people have time, they make time to go hang out with their friends, to watch a movie, or just to be on social media, just scrolling and checking everybody else. But they don't want to take this opportunity to change their lives because they don't have the time. And I'm like, you do have the time. It's just that you're not willing to do what it takes to get where you want to be.
yeah,
You have to put the work in to get there. So yes, I completely understand, that to change your life, you first of all, you have to, or you need to have that will, because if you don't have it, even if you join, you're going to give up at the first obstacle that you face, because you're not ready and you're not serious about changing your life. So um, we do see a lot of people with that kind of mindset, that they're not ready to
yeah,
do it, and they don't want to do what it takes.
yeah. And that's what the major things a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that you hear is that mindset is a key factor of being successful in anything that you do in sort of the entrepreneurial journey. And that's what I really love about our masterminds is that our masterminds aren't just talking about how to do the business, but also, how to change your mindset. And that's such a key thing. And I love how we tell people when you do this business, when you start, you have to read the book called The Magic, because that really switches sort of your whole thinking and being more focused on like what's actually working in life versus not what's working, because we're so trained in our brains to pick out things that aren't working, and that's negative thinking. And when you actually change that negative thinking, change to positive thinking, and sort of focus on what's actually working, and sort of like focus on the now and all that, it really does help you improve your mindset as an individual and as a business owner.
Yeah, I read that book at the beginning, and
Yeah,
I reconnected myself to, like, years, to a younger me, years back. I was like, oh my God, I remember when I used to, like, have those feelings, of just happiness, like pure happiness, without waiting for somebody to do something for you or anything. Because now, I don't know, I think we have the wrong definition of happiness. We think happiness is when everything goes good, when you don't have any problems, when you have somebody that cares for you, and that's not really so. But we just, I don't know, with years, how do I say this? As you go on in life, you lose so much of the beauty of what life is really about. And we get lost in all this stressful life, this daily routines of running and doing, and we just forget that there's so much more to life than that.
yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the fourth question.
Okay, so I know that you talk about that that you transitioned from nursing and you quit, and then you do the pharmacy, and then you start the opening. So after working as a nurse for 21 years, how did it feel to leave the job and make your online business your primary focus instead of a backup plan?
Yeah. So I decided to resign in December of last year. But I still stay casual as a role because they weren't able to find my replacement. And I've worked with BC Cancer for quite a long time, and I didn't want to leave them high and dry because I was sort of like a key person to help kind of get new clinical trial studies going. I'm still considered casual there, but I haven't really worked for them. But regardless of that, handing in that resignation, it was funny because my manager at the time, I told him like this is what I want to do, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, just write a resignation letter because we need that for HR." And I was typing it up. I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this! Like this is actually happening." But sort of like what sparked it, what it was just the right timing, but what sort of sparked it was working with all my cancer patients. Like I talk to people about this all the time, that I've been very fortunate as a clinical trials nurse to meet all these amazing people who unfortunately got the wrong card dealt with them and had to deal with cancer. And a lot of the prognosis were either a few months to 5, 6 years. And so I got to know a lot of these patients. Like I followed them. Like these patients that I see are either coming in for, maybe they might be cured for cancer, but then the cancer comes back, or they might be here for their last treatment to see if this is actually going to work to help extend their life. And so I've been very fortunate to be part of their lives, and I'm always grateful for that. But then, out of all the conversations I've had with each of these patients, the whole time factor was all part of it. I wish I had more time to, see my walk my daughter down the aisle. I wish I had more time to see my grandkids get old. I wish I had more time to go travel and see the world. And so I constantly heard this, but actually really didn't do much about it. I love to travel. I travel as much as I could, but it was coming to that point where all these conversations, all the experience just kind of funneled in and said, Paulo, now's the time to just do what you want to do, which is travel, see the world. And my partner, he was able to take a sabbatical as well from his work. So it just all kind of worked out with the timing. And so that's when I decided to leave in December and traveled for 7 months. And then, yeah, I went to Florida. I went on a 2-week cruise. I went to Puerto Rico. I went to Mexico. Pretty much like several countries in South America. I was in Spain. I went to several places in Europe. I did 2-week cruise in Europe, and then I just came back in last month. But man, that experience was, it was just like it was so hard to explain. Like there's so many key things that I experienced with every culture, with every country that I went to. But I'm glad I did it. And so being able to focus on my business, because my branding is about travel, because I've always loved to travel, and also spending quality time with family and friends, not just time with family and friends, quality time where you're not tired, you're not stressed from your job. And then the other part is staying active and healthy because, because of my neuromuscular disorder. Plus, I also have hypertension as well. So health and staying active for me is very important as well. And then even the mental part too. So I tie that all into my branding. And so I've been able to focus on that while I was traveling and got to showcase what it is to be a digital nomad, being able to work anywhere, but also do this business where, I mean, we teach people to do attraction marketing. And so I'm attracting people who love the same thing so that I can work with people that I actually enjoy working with. Whereas like if you start a new job, you don't really get that say of who you can really work with because it's just multiple personalities. But at least with this job, you can actually pick and choose who you get to work with.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been amazing experience, amazing feeling of being able to do this. And yeah, there's times where I'm fearful. I'm like, is this going to actually keep working? But I have to remind myself, like as I mentioned, this system's been tried and tested for 8 years now. There's people who are very successful from this business that if they're using the exact same system and business model, that I can actually achieve the same amount. And so yeah, I just have to keep constantly reminding myself to do of that message, because your brain's such a powerful muscle that it will find ways to like scare you and tell you, oh, Paulo, maybe this is wrong, maybe you should just go back to Canada and continue working as a nurse. But then there's that little part of you be like, no, because like what if something happens to me tomorrow and I don't really get to do what I was wanting to do? And so I'm just always, the experiences of all my patients and all that stuff overpowers that part of my brain. And so yeah, I've been very grateful, and I can't wait to do more travels. Like I really want to go to South America. Oh, sorry, Southeast Asia, and go there for a few months. Go back to the Philippines. I've only been twice there, but I'd love to go back and explore longer than like 2 3 weeks. But yeah, there's many things that I'm really looking forward to with being able to now focus on this business, because I know it's going to open up other doors as well and other sort of entrepreneur ideas that I want to do.
It's really inspiring to always hear someone history that moved from like the online business part-time to the online business full-time, because the amount of opportunity that the online business give you, I'm doing the business part-time, but it's amazing, it's just I want to be like you. Like have that. But just for all the viewers too that are watching us, it just give you an example, like like we're in the right business. This business have changed so many lives. People are become millionaires if that's what you're looking for, but people are being the most important, like they're found financial freedom and time freedom, and that's what we all looking for. And when you get to the point that you have the that you like that like you quit, that you handle your resignation. I think that's an amazing feeling, because who have ever thought you will do something like that? So so you be on your own journey to become successful. It's amazing. One day we will get there, but it's just amazing hearing your history and how you do it and how it's working for you. For all the viewers, is we're doing this to show to everyone that everyone like us, they can make it happen. You can succeed, you can do everything that is necessary to become successful. We have the training, we have everything set it up for you. Some people will take 3 months, a whole year, 7 years, doesn't matter. It's your own journey, and the important thing is you're working toward your goals. That's financial freedom and time freedom. That's what all we need, and that's the happiness that Isabel was talking about. Because when you are happy, you have time to do those things without worrying. Your life it can be so easy and so happy. Some people, for financial freedom, they just need $500 extra a month, but some people need like $3,000 a month. It's just the pain of your like where you're living and all the stuff, but like we just showing you that this is possible thanks to this business. I'm really proud, and I'm so happy for your history to share that. And I'm happy for you that you quick. I know you say you're doing it a casual, but I'm so happy for you that you be able to do that transition, so our career. So good for you.
Muchas gracias.
I
Yeah. And the other thing too I want to point out was that because I've been traveling to different countries, I got to network and meet other people there, and they would ask what I do. And so even though maybe they weren't interested in it, now they're following me on Instagram or Facebook and get to see it, because I see this as a gold mine for people who want a business that where a lot of like where a majority of the back end stuff is looked after for you, that you're only really focused on the digital marketing part of it. Because it it'd be impossible for a lot of us to run everything on our own, because you just be working nonstop with the business. But
Mhm.
because of the way it's designed, the way our system is, parts of our system are automated, it's what allows a lot of us to have this first as a plan B, and then you're working your plan A, which is your day job, and then it eventually like starts moving, and then your plan B starts to turn to plan A. So for those who are watching this, this is not a quick rich kind of business. This is a long-term business. This is a business that can create passive income. This is a business that, if for some sad reason that you pass away, you can pass this on to your kids. I can't pass my career on to any of my loved ones. Nobody can. Like, you can't. But this business you can. And so, yeah, really ask yourself. I always tell people, ask yourself, where do you think you're gonna be in the next 1 or 2 years? If you see yourself in the same position where you are now, then you have to do something about it. Because if you're already complaining now, with a high cost of living, you're working a lot, you're not happy, you think it's gonna get any better in the next 1 or 2 years? No. Like, even a small raise from your job or a couple bonuses aren't gonna help, because it's just, with how everything's getting expensive, and our employers are always looking at the cost of everything. They're not going to give you massive bonuses so that you can live a better life. They're just going to give you enough to just keep you satisfied and keep you going. And that's unfortunately how everyone is running their life right now. So this is where we're here to show people that there is other options, legitimate options online that you can become successful and earn an extra 3, 4, 5 figures a month.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go to the next question, but before we go to the next question, we have a comment from Kat Keating. Thank you, Kat Keating, for watching the live and for sending the emojis and the flowers.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Pat.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, so the next question.
Okay,
Oh,
during your
sorry.
sorry, Sandy, go ahead.
It's okay. Um, During your journey, you face some tough situations. How did you manage to overcome them and keep moving forward?
So yeah, so one of it I'll just touch quickly was like the whole disorder thing. I mean, that happened before the whole business part that sort of just sparked my idea to go into the business. But every time there's any challenging parts within the business, because there's ups and downs when you're doing this whole business
Mhm.
journey, I always go back to that point where I was lying in bed crying because I didn't think I was going to get any better, that this is going to be my new life. But then I stopped myself there and said, Paulo, this isn't going to be your new life. You're going to conquer this. You're going to become stronger. And then I stopped looking on the new, like online about the disorder, because a lot of people who have this disorder can't leave their homes. They're debilitated. And so my mind, that's what I was thinking. And so I stopped that. I stopped all that sort of negative thinking and then thought positive and built my way up. Yeah, it took 2 years to finally get full control of my head movement and get my neck straight and everything. But I always go back to that point in my life where I always say, if you can get through it, get through that difficult situation, then you can get through anything in this business. Because this business is all, it's not life or death. It's things that can easily get fixed. If something happens with our Facebook account, you can easily get that fixed. You have people to reach out to you and help you with any sort of challenges, because if something has happened to you, I'm sure hundreds of other people in our business community have also experienced that as well. So that's what I love about our chat, our community chat, is that you can reach out to a lot of people globally if you're having any issues. And the other tough situation too that I don't really talk about much is that during that period, so my 5th year in my business, I had an ad that was going really well. I was getting buyers. I made over 10,000 in a week. Like that was the most I ever made in my business. And that's when I knew, wow, this is like, if I could make more than what I do my nursing in a month, I'm like, this is really awesome. But then during that period, also, I was having marital issues with my ex-husband. And so my Facebook account got shut down. And then over that period, I had issues and then ended up separating from my ex. But I look back and think, if my business just kept taking off, I would have ignored the fact that I was not in a good relationship. And so, but even during that period, I was still managing the interviews of the people within our community who reached major milestones. I was still managing all that during that period. I was still managing my business. I was still attending masterminds, even though I was going through a lot of post traumatic stress with the whole separation, because it was a nasty separation that took me over 2.5 years to get over. And so I bring that up with people as well, because even though you're doing this business, life still happens. Things happen. Like even during that period, I had my aunt passed away, my grandma passed away. I had, the whole separation. I had to do that all through COVID as well too, and it was such a challenging sort of period for me. But I still overcome those personal challenges and still kept the business going, because I knew that this is something that's going to help me create time and financial freedom. And so I was able to manage, because not just also with my friends off like that are not part of the business, but friends that I met in the business. Only a handful of people knew what I was going through, but they were there to support me, and mentally, emotionally as well, because our community has been so supportive that you actually create really great friendships, long-term friendships within this community of ours. And that is something I'm forever grateful for, because Even like that's how I met Sandy personally, was one of our meetups that we had last weekend at the beach. And there's so many other people there that I haven't seen for quite a while. So those are the sort of friendships that you get to create in relationships because of this business. We're not just independent business owners, but we're also part of a bigger community that is very supportive. And I think it's probably most supportive out of all the all online groups out there. So yeah, those are the challenges I faced during up until now of what I had to face in my business. But they always say like if it was easy, everyone would do it. But if it's not easy, it's like only the certain percent of people that actually do it. And I'm that small percent of people that, regardless of what challenges come my way, I'll deal with it, but keep moving forward. Even if it's a little step, people, that's not I always remind myself that it doesn't need to be a big step. If it was just a little step that maybe you did 15 minutes on your business today, then that's better than nothing. And then tomorrow will be a better day. You can spend another extra hour on that. But you have to be very flexible in this business and not be too hard on yourself, because as long as you keep just moving forward, your business will continue to flourish and be successful.
Yeah, I just want to add a few things that you touched there. Like one is the community. Yeah, the community plays a big role during our business journey, because I mean, like you say, you have some friends that supported what in during that time, but some people in the community, they don't have that family support or friend support. So that's where the community comes in place. Like we have this amazing community that is always there to celebrate your milestones, big or small, and also to help in the emotional support, and also on the technical aspect, in terms of training. The other thing that you mentioned, I think one of the reasons why you were able to also overcome this challenge is because of the mindset that you had. That really helps you to overcome that. And it's just like seeing, because many times, we are faced with things that, like it might be negative, like for example, someone it gets laid off. Okay. But if you think it in a negative way, yes, you're going to see it in a negative. But if you think it in a positive way, you might think, like, okay, yes, I got laid off. There might be a reason why, maybe I need to learn something from it, or maybe there's something better for me ahead of my journey. And when you look back at what happened to you and you analyze your life, then you realize, if this didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be here where I am today. you know it's like sometimes, things are like some obstacles are put in on your way to kind of like guide you to the right path where you're supposed to go. So it's all, like thinking, like always there for something negative, there's always a positive side of it. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next question.
Okay. What are some of the biggest benefits you gain from running your online business?
So the first one that's pops in my mind is gaining the confidence of being on camera, doing lives, doing videos, doing my paid ads, because if I actually have a stage fright thing. Like I've had it since I was grade 5. I've been afraid to be in front of people, and it happened because I was able to figure out what caused it. Is when I was in grade 5, each class had to do an operetta performance in front of family and friends. And so I remember being on stage with my classmates, and it was my turn to sing my line, and I forgot my line, and I stood there and for like a few minutes, and then finally remembered. But because of that incident, it followed me all the way till now. And so I have stage fright. I'm afraid of being in front of the camera. Being a Filipino, I am even afraid of singing karaoke in front of my family and friends, because I just start sweating, my heart races. And so I read this book, which is another book that got recommended by a community, was The Emotion Code. So it's a book that helps you tap into your subconscious, because no matter what experience, good or bad, your subconscious hangs on to those experiences and and the energy. And so I was able to, that's why I was able to figure out that that whole stage fright was related to that grade 5 operetta performance. And because I was able to release that energy, I've been also able to practice more and force myself to do things that make me uncomfortable. And so when I was working at BC Cancer, I got chosen to be the person that leads the social committee. So I'd be the one organizing the Christmas parties or the summer parties. And I would co host, or I'd be the host of this party. And there'd be like 80 to 100 of my colleagues that are there while I'm hosting. And so I forced myself to do that. I forced myself to do talks in front of like staff meetings as well. And then I forced myself to do interviews. Like I was part of the fundamental masterminds for like new business owners. I'd be co-hosting that with my with the other business colleague, and then also hosting the interviews where I interview major people who've reached major milestones. So I just really forced myself to get out there. But because of that, I've been able to gain that confidence. I mean, I still get nervous, of course. Who even artists is like I hear them, they say even ones that perform so many times over the years, they still get nervous going on stage. But it's that part that really, that nervousness, that little part that still pushes you to still keep going. And then it's just sort of like that little hump. Once you're after that, like once it's live, once you're going, it's like it's not there anymore. And so that's one of the biggest benefits I gained from this business. And then the other one is the ability to know that I have a business that I can take with me anywhere. Because that was sort of part of the decision of being able to travel for 7 months, is that I can still earn while I'm traveling. And so that was one of the other major things. Like I remember it wasn't the last 7 months I traveled, but a few years ago, I was me, my partner, and our friends. We flew to Guatemala and then drove all the way to Costa Rica. But I remember filling out paperwork to help a business partner get started in my drive through the mountains in Costa Rica. And then I was like, my data kept cutting out, but I was in and out of the data connections. I was still able to get things going for this new business owner and was able to make like a couple $1,000 commission on that. So it just shows you like, it was really nice being able to know that I can do everything on my phone once the business is set up, and as long as I have the Wi-Fi part. So I think those are some of the biggest benefits I've gained from this business. And the one last thing was the community, being able to create all these long-term friendships. Like they're just not business colleagues. For me, they're lifelong friends. They're people that I can turn to because you're both, when you talk to those other people, you're already on that same mindset of like you need to change, you want to do something different, versus like when you talk to other friends or families who aren't at that same level as you, it's hard to actually really have real conversations with them and stuff, because like you hear them talking about their complaints about work and like how they're so stressed, but then like every time you try to talk to them about the business, they're like, no, it's not for me, or it's like it seems too complicated and stuff. And so it's nice being able to talk to other people who know what the business is about, and you can actually talk about more relatable things. And so that's what I've gotten so far out of this whole entrepreneur sort of journey and with doing this online business.
Wow. It's hard for me to see you as the type of person that was shy, because you look so social to me. Every time I see you, you're doing videos, you're talking, and you look so natural.
Yeah.
So, but I think we all started with that, with that fear of going on camera, in front of a camera, doing videos, doing lives, and all this stuff. But once you know what they say, practice makes perfect.
Mhm.
So we're working on it, right? And,
Yeah.
and and the more we do it, the better we get. So I like that. And the other thing that really resonates with me that you said is friendships and connections, in the business, with people from the community, because when I started, I didn't know anybody in the business, and the person that I joined with, she lives very far away, and we didn't really have that connection, because she's too far. So we decided to help in the Spanish project, because we're trying to translate all the training to Spanish, and that's when I met my friends here, Jesse and Sandy. So we've been what they said, the Three Musketeers. Ever since we're always doing stuff and planning stuff and having so much fun. We really enjoy doing this, and that's what the community does. You make these friendships that mean so much to you, and that you never thought that it was possible to have a friendship with somebody so far away. you know so I love that. And then the other thing, we're immigrants, and we have family back home. So having a portable business is really important to us, because we want to go see our family and spend whatever time we decide to stay with them, and still know that we can run the business from wherever we are. So those are very important things for somebody that is here but has a different home, a different country that you got to go to. Or even if you just want to travel around, and know that you can keep doing the business while you're doing that. So yes, I totally agree.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go for the last one.
Okay, so do you have, Paolo, do you have any final words or advice of encouragement for all the viewers or for the people that are watching this on replay?
Yeah. So my advice is that if you're not happy in your job, if you're if things are just like I said, if you need to sit down and evaluate your life and see where you are in the next 1 or 2 years, and if things aren't going to be looking bright, then you need to make change now. I mean, yes, we're talking about this business opportunity. It may not be for everyone, but if it's for you, you have like, what if things start working out? And we're always in that mindset of like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Where we need to change that mindset and be like, what if it does work out? Because when you start thinking that way, then you'll have a better sort of outlook on this business instead of the negative part of it. And the other things I get to as a coach is like, well, I don't have, it's not the right time for me or this and that. But it's like, when is it going to be the right time? When you've lost your job and you aren't sure how you're going to pay the bills, or when maybe your partner loses their job and there's only one person managed, like being able to pay for things, or maybe you get sick and you don't have the funds to pay for stuff for healthcare. Like, people always, it's sort of like natural in a way, like where people wait till the very end and then we'll make change. Whereas
Mhm.
like here, we're trying to introduce this opportunity and get people to be more proactive, because if you're already starting to feel like, yeah, I need to do something, jump on it. Don't wait. And as we mentioned before, if you don't have the skill set, the knowledge, we'll train you. Our training system is there 24/7. You get assigned a mentor and coach. And if you're like, oh, I'm too old for this, we've got 80-year-olds doing this business as well too. And people as even as young as 18. Like, I wish this system was around when I was a teenager, because I know I'd be a millionaire with, like, multimillionaire with this business. So any excuse that you can think of, we can come up and say, but like, that's not an excuse. Like, even when you say English is their second language, we've got people who barely can speak English and are still doing this business, because a lot of our training, you can translate it into your language as well. And our training system is getting updated now to the point that you can just select the language and it will get translated and into
Mhm.
your native tongue. So don't let excuses or fears or anything hold you back from being able to create the life that you deserve. Because we've all grown up to be told that you have to go to school and then get a good degree and then you'll be able to get a really good job. But it's not like that nowadays. A lot of successful people now don't even have a high school education. They have got life experience. And they've been able to be very successful in running their business. And so just also follow your gut instinct as well. I mean, when I have conversations with people, I tell them I'm not here to convince you to do the business. I'm here to provide you with the facts that this is a affordable business system. This is a system that's automated to allow you to still do your day-to job and do other commitments while working this on the side. This is a business that will help create time freedom, financial freedom and can help you become a millionaire and create passive income. Like these are all facts. They're not made up. These are all facts that I've seen over the 7 years of being a business owner and watching the community grow. And so I'm only here to give you that information so that you as an individual can do your due diligence, ask away, ask a lot of questions, because yes, there are a lot of scams out there and you have to be very careful. I'm When people have questions, I say watch the information webinar. Afterwards, when you have questions, let's book a call, let's do a Zoom call, let's do a phone call, because then they can see that I'm actually a real person. I'm not here to try to scam them, because I've been scammed before and it's not nice. It's not nice to go through. I've had mentees who've been scammed thousands and thousands of dollars, because they thought they were in a legitimate business, but they are, sorry, investing in a legitimate business, but there were people within that business that were taking money out and stuff. So there's a lot of crazy things that are happening. That ask your questions, please. And if this isn't a business for you, then no big deal. I mean, you can move on and go find other things. But when you're looking for other things as well, just do your due diligence, ask questions, and try to um, follow your gut, because your gut instinct is what got you to where you are now, and it's the one thing that will always keep you safe. So follow that, because my gut kept pulling me towards this business, because it was just something that I was just getting pulled to, and I wasn't sure of all the information. I didn't know what to do, what to get started, and I always bring it back to the story that when I started nursing, and when I started my year one nursing, if they told me everything that I had to do as a nurse in year one, like saying like you have to pull out chest tubes, you have to put in IV lines, you'll probably get pee splashed on you or poo on you, I would have been like, no, I don't want to do nursing. Like, but they held back like all that information. They gave it to you in bits and chunks and like over the years, because you gained that confidence slowly. And so it's like with this whole business is like you're not going to know all the information of how the whole business runs right away, but we're here to show you step by step of how to start the business. And we have a proper onboarding now too with helping people get started, and our training system is getting updated as well, to the point that if you're not done with some specific training, then you can't move on to the next, which is nice, because our old training site, which is still up right now, people skip steps. And when you skip steps, then you'll not allow your business to run successfully, because it may interrupt your business. But yeah, it's just such a really amazing business that I've seen grow over the 7 years. And when I started, like it was only in North America, and now we're global. You guys, we are in pretty much every country in the world, and it's not going to stop growing, because we, like as mentioned, our community is, I think, the number one thing to support that helps people keep going with this business. Because if you're doing it on your own, it's just very difficult, because you don't. It's hard to find people to turn to. So yeah, those are last final words and advice. And yeah, I mean, check us out. It's something that's worked for all of us, and your journey is going to be a different journey compared to mine, compared to all these other ladies on here. But it'll be a journey that you'll be able to share 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and show people what you got yourself out of, and to living a life that you deserve.
Thank you, Paulo. Okay, so we have arrived to the end of the live. So we're just doing a little quick recap of what we touched today. So, we today we had Paulo who came. He has a nursing background, so we touched a little bit, how he transitioned from the nursing to the online business. What made him decide to go into this? The challenges that he faced, at the beginning of his entrepreneurial journey, and how he overcome them. Also, the mindset shifts, the key mindset shifts that you need in order to be successful in this business. And also, like after working 21 years, he was able to finally quit his job as a nurse, and doing this online business, not anymore as a backup plan, but as his primary plan. And also, we touched a little bit about the like everyone face some tough situations along the journey. Every it's not like always like happy. Like we have ups and downs. So he faced some tough situations, but he was able to overcome. So um and he moved forward. So he explained a little bit about that, and also the benefits that he gained, like from running the online business, and the final words that he gave to the audience. So we just want to give a reminder again. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we have our live webinars at 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. So tonight, we have one at 5 p.m. And tonight, our hosts and panelists are
Okay, we have our host, Rex in Chicago, chef and a therapist. We also have Elaine from a nanny to a CEO, and we have Delphine, a business
development manager.
a development manager.
We also have Lori. We also have
Go ahead.
we also have Lawrence. She's a digital business owner. We also have Meg. She's a government contractor. Maria, as an officer, manager, realtor. Melissa, restaurant business owner. And Ifioma, she's a manager, the profit. Yes. So if you want to join the free live webinar in a couple of like 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, we'll start 8 p.m. EST. And this is our host today. And if you want, it's 90 minutes free. So just register and go for it. If you miss it, don't worry. We will send you the replay.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, so and we also want to remind you we have our Facebook's business page on the screen. So if you want to follow us and get to know us a little bit more, so you can follow us there. We also have our website on the screen, so you can register to know more about the business with your name and email address, and we'll send you the invitation to the webinar where you will learn a little bit more about the business plan, and you will hear some testimonials of business owners of the community. You also get an invitation to our private Facebook group where you will see more success stories of our line business owners from the community and a little bit more information about the business. And for those who cannot make to the live webinar, they can catch the replay, and the replay will have subtitles in any language. So you're welcome to pick the language that you speak. If your English is not that strong, you can pick it, and then you're able to watch it. So and then I'll pass to Isabel.
Okay, just a clarification. When you register on our website, it's only to receive the 90-minute webinar. It's free. You're not committing to anything by doing so, and you're not joining the business just by registering to see the webinar, okay? So no commitment, nothing to lose, and a lot to gain.
Yes. Yeah, because a lot of people think that just because they registered already joining the business, and that's not the case. We're just giving you information. So you can decide at that moment if you want to proceed and learn more about our business plan. So we want to thank all our viewers today that watched it, and for all the emojis and comments that they sent to us. And also for those watching the replays, thank you so much. And if you can leave in the comments where you're watching from, so we can know, where you're watching and show that, we're global. And we want to thank us, especially, our guest today, Paulo, for coming and sharing your amazing story with us and the viewers. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paolo, for your history. Really inspiring.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. And then until the next episode of Latin Voices. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.